another episode of MMA Heart. Maksat Ibrahimov here, and today I'm joined by the man who needs no introduction, the one and only legendary Marcos DaMatta Parrumpa. How are you doing, sir?
How you doing, brother? Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks so much, sir. Of course, sir, you're joining me all the way from Las Vegas. UFC 300 Fight Week is finally here. Could you please tell me, Coach, how's the atmosphere like over there in Vegas? Is the place going crazy?
Not yet. We had a a media day, today also. So there's a lot of things going on at the UFC Apex, but other than that, nothing crazy yet. It's gonna be a little crazier towards the end of the week, like Thursday and Friday.
Absolutely. And Coach, the first time I met you was in Toronto, UFC 297. Just wondering, your thoughts. How do you like Toronto, and do you like visiting Canada?
Oh, I love Canada. I go to Canada at least 4 or 5 times a year because I have an affiliated gym in Ottawa. So it's an American top team Ottawa there with Professor Stephanie Demore. So I'm there like I would say every 3 months. You know,
Okay.
and I love Canada. I love Toronto. Toronto's amazing. The Canadians are always very very like good people. I love it.
And Coach, of course, this Saturday, all the eyes will be on your very own Arman Tsarukyan as he prepares to face Charles the Bronx Oliveira. What can all the fans expect from this fight? Can we expect fireworks? And of course, what is at stake here? Because the winner, I guess, will take their place in a very short line, for that crack in the lightweight at the lightweight title.
Yes, I mean that's a huge fight, and that's the type of fight that I always say. I've been saying this for all the interviews that I've been doing lately. This is the most technical fight of the card. If this fight was for the belt, I 100% believe that this will be the main event. But
Mhm.
obviously we have two belts on the line, plus actually three belts on the line. So obviously we wouldn't expect to be higher on the card. Higher than
Mhm.
what we already are. So
Mhm.
the fight is. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be an unpredictable fight. You know, the reason I said that this is the most technical fight is because anything can happen. Tsarukyan can knock Charles out or submit, you know, Charles, and Charles can submit or knock Arma out. So that's why it's endless possibilities. And the only thing
Mhm.
that I don't see happening, it's a decision. Which is always a good
Mhm.
thing for the fans.
Mhm. And Coach, of course, you're a jiu-jitsu legend yourself, so there is no better person to ask you than this. But Coach, Charles Oliveira has that reckless style. He just marches forward. He's like a kamikaze in there. Can we expect to see crazy scrambles for both of these guys when it hits the ground?
Absolutely. I always say Charles Oliveira is the best jiu-jitsu representative in UFC of all time. He has so many different submissions. It's not only like Damian Maya, mainly taking the back and finish them out, or Royce when nobody knew jiu-jitsu. You know, Charles fights in an era that everybody trains jiu-jitsu, and he still is able to like finish people with different types of submission. Darces, anacondas, rear naked chokes, leg locks, calf locks, guillotines. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So to me, obviously, it was a very difficult task to prepare a month for this fight because, in my opinion, Charles is more dangerous than Islam himself. Islam to me is a better fighter, but I think Charles is dangerous everywhere, standing up on the clinch, on the ground. So we have to be for 15 minutes, 100%, smart and with full attention.
And Coach, UFC 289 in Vancouver, I also got to meet Jorge Patino, Charles Oliveira's coach, and of course, all of those Brazilian guys from Shoot the Box, Diego Lima as well. Just wondering, you being Brazilian as well, what is your relationship like, with the other camp?
Man, me and George Patino, we go back a long, long, time. He's my longtime friend. We always very, very nice to each other. I respect him a lot. He respects me a lot since the jiu-jitsu days. Diego Lima is also a friend. He has done an amazing job with Charles. He's always very humble. Treats people nice. So I have no problem with any of them. And Charles is my friend. Oliver is one great kid. I'm a huge fan. I always like to praise him because he is that kind of guy. He's a good person who does a lot for his community. He's an amazing fighter with a huge, comeback story. So what's not to like? But I have a job to
Mhm,
do. You know,
mhm, mhm.
I'm an American Top Team coach, and whoever trains with Parrumpa at American Top Team will get my best. I will do whatever I can for my fighters to win fights. And that's what I'm trying to do.
And of course, coach, another fight here is going to be for the BMF title, Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje. Arman has previously said that he would also like to, try to get that BMF title as well. Is that BMF title, something that interests you, or winning a fight here will put Arman in a very great spot. Maybe BMF title, maybe a crack at Islam Makhachev for the lightweight belt, or maybe even a shot at Conor McGregor as well. Which one of these opportunities excites you the most?
What excites me the most is to get there Saturday and get a win over number one contender Charles Oliveira. That's what excites me the most. What's going to happen afterwards, I don't know. There's, like you said, there's a lot of possibilities, lots of things that Armand wants to do. But the most important thing is what me and Armand are focused is actually this Saturday to get home with the win and the number one contender spot. That's our
Mhm,
goal.
mhm. And coach, just very quickly wondering, how do you think Arman will do a second time versus Islam Makhachev? Until today, he's the only guy who gave Islam a competitive fight.
I think it's going to be a different fight if they fight and when they fight next. I think Armand was 22, very young, 13 days notice. And Islam was already a like established fighter in the roster of the UFC. But I think Islam also evolved. He's a different fighter back then, but I think Arma evolved more than Islam did. I expect firework as always. Everybody wants to see that fight. Not a lot of people wants to see Charles Oliveira and Islam too, because the first fight was so easy. Nothing taking nothing away from Charles. He is like the man. But if you ask 10 people, you know, who do you want to see more next? As far as competitiveness, Armand and Isla, or Isla and Charles. So you got the answer. I guarantee that 80% of people would like to see that fight between those two Russians. So we'll see. First off, huge task this Saturday. Get the number one contender, and then we go from there.
And of course, coach, this next question is, which fight are you most excited about? Another fight, in this stacked card, of course, Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill, of course, a strawweight, title bout, China versus China. And also, of course, we have many American top team guys, Bo Nickel, Renato Moicano, Kayla Harrison. Which fight are you most excited about? Another fight.
Well, the fight that I'm most excited about is obviously Armand. And I'm not cornering everybody. I'm just cornering two. I just have two guys on the card.
Okay.
So Money Moicano is the second fight that I'm most excited about. I think it's a huge opportunity, for him to actually cement himself with the top 10 spot, and I'm very excited for him to show what we've been working on.
And of course, coach, you're a very busy man. Next month you'll already be heading to UFC 301 Rio de Janeiro. Your very own Alexandre Pantoja is going to be defending his belt. How excited are you to go back to Brazil?
Man, Brazil is always amazing, but going back to Rio, my city it's next level. I'm always looking forward to see family, friends, but the most important thing is to have again a huge task. Ertzag, Steve Ertzag is not a joke. He's a guy that's coming gunning for the belt. So Pantoja needs to be on his prime, on his best performance that night on May 4th, and bring the belt back with us to American Top Team.
And of course, coach, you also work with a lot of different Russian-speaking fighters. I am from Kyrgyzstan myself. I was so surprised that you know Russian. But coach, you work with the likes of course, Arman Tsarukyan, Mafsar Yevloyev, Piotr Yan, Alexander Shabli, Magomed Umalarov, Sergey Morozov, Zhalgaz Zhumagulov. But I wanted to ask you, coach, about your relationship with Sayat Abdrakhmanov. I'm friends with Sayat. Sometimes we talk to each other. Just wondering about your relationship with Sayat and what you can say about him. And also, one of my last questions is, would you ever consider, coming to our part of the world, visiting Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and coming there as a tourist?
Man, first off, you just forgot Magomed Kerimov, alias Habkriziev. I have Rinat Fakhintinov. I have a bunch of them. You know that I kind of like my Russian sons.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
Sayat is a friend. Sayat was a friend back in the day. I mean, I'm grateful that I'm friends with him. He brought a lot of talent to me, to American Top Team. And the list. It's a very long list. We always have a very good relationship. I really like to work with him because it's so easy to work with Sayat. He's a very humble guy, and he always takes care of me as a coach, so nothing but good things to say about him. The other question is, yes, I've been for 3 years, my friend. For 3 years, I'm trying to make time to finally go to Mahatskala,
Hmm.
Kazakhstan,
Hmm.
Georgia, Ingushetia, Sochi, all these guys. But the problem is, if I go to one place,
Hmm.
oh, you got to
Hmm.
come to my city. Oh, you got to come to my city. You got to come to my city. So I can go in just like one week. It has to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And
Hmm.
it's very hard for me to leave
Hmm.
American Top Team for 3 weeks. But
Hmm.
we already planning. I had already a seminar schedule in Kazakhstan, Almaty. It didn't
Wow.
work because it was a working visa problem. You know, but I promised Magomed Malatov that he's gonna get married in the end of the year, and I'm going for his
Okay.
wedding. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
going
wow.
for his
Amazing.
wedding, and I'm going to Mahatskala, Ingushetia, and I'm trying to go around as much as I can to see this amazing part of the world. I extremely love to work with Russian-based fighters. They are all very humble, hardworking guys, respectful. Every one of them. There's nowhere that I arrive that all of them they stand up. Please, coach, sit here. They want some coffee. They want some tea. They never let me pay anything. So it's really a real delight to work with these guys. I cannot tell enough how much I love to work with Russian guys. Um,
Hmm.
but yes, I'm trying my best this year. Finally, try to go to that part of the world, which is amazing.
Mhm. And coach, you've been very generous with your time, so thank you so much for that. A couple last ones before I go. I know you're a very busy man, but coach, on my show I always make sure to ask my guests some fun questions. So this next question is going to be very fun, just lighthearted. Coach, if you were in a coliseum, for example, and you had to survive against a lion, and there was a lion in there, trying to kill you, what would be your tactic, to survive against the lion?
So funny you said that. 10 days ago, I was at the Coliseum.
Oh wow, oh wow.
I was with a family vacation, and I was at the Coliseum. But that's a rough one, man. I don't know. Maybe get a sword to try to run. They
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
fucking. I don't know if you guys saw the movie The Ghost and the Darkness. It's
That's
about two
right. That's
lions
right.
in Africa. That movie is amazing. Those fucking lions, they climb trees and everything. So not sure. Not sure what
Hmm.
would be
Hmm. Hmm.
my strategy. You know,
Hmm.
Try to
Hmm.
survive is number one.
Right, right. And coach, you're a jiu-jitsu legend yourself. Here in Vancouver, I live in Vancouver and I train, in Lions MMA in Vancouver. We have a very great, team there. Our head coach for BJJ is Brazilian. His name is Neto Estrela. We also have a super lightweight champion from Brazil as well. His name is Rodrigo Sezinando. He's competing on May 9th, fighting in BFL, the biggest, is the biggest local league here. So, just wondering, how do you feel about, fellow Brazilians doing so well worldwide?
I mean, man, Brazilians they're amazing. They can adapt to anywhere in the world. You see, there's Brazilians in Russia, in Africa, in Vancouver, whether it's super hot, super cold, you know, Abu Dhabi, anywhere. You name it, there's a Brazilian there. And there's a Brazilian teaching jiu-jitsu there, which is even more amazing. So I'm pretty sure that Neto is doing an amazing job there in Vancouver. Amazing city, very beautiful city. I don't go to Vancouver that much as I go to Ottawa and Toronto and Montreal because they're closer to me, right? Vancouver is on the west side, but the one time that I was in Vancouver was amazing. It was for Bulldog. I don't know if you remember Bulldog fights. You know,
Mhm,
it was
mhm,
back in the day. It was amazing. You know, so I'm pretty sure the Neto is doing a great job there. You know, and it's so nice to see fellow Brazilians jiu-jitsu instructors spreading the word, not only for jiu-jitsu, for the Brazilian culture around the world. You know, great job.
mhm, mhm. And coach, my last question before I let you go, we are on the verge of the biggest fight card ever. I'm just wondering, you grew up in the streets of Copacabana in Rio de Janeiro. You come from very humble beginnings, from a very simple life. But coach, I'm wondering, do you ever allow yourself, to think like, wow, I'm here, we are here, we're conquering world stages. You're living your dream. Do you ever allow yourself to take a moment back and just, be amazed by how far you have come?
Yes, man. Yes. I mean, it's funny because I owe this to Carson Gracie, because um, when I started jiu-jitsu, I started to prove to Carson that I didn't like jiu-jitsu. Any Brazilian kid, I want to be a soccer player. And I used to play on the beach every day, and he was every day inviting me to his gym. And I'm like, man, this guy's not gonna give up on me. So one day I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to his gym, train for maybe a couple of weeks. Then I will come back to the beach, and next time he asks me to go there, I will say, man, Carson, I already tried. I don't like it. That was June 1st, 1987. So since then, I not only never stopped training jiu-jitsu, but the jiu-jitsu gave me everything that I have right now. I've been around the world. I've been in a lot of countries, a lot more to see though. But I already, saw a bunch of the world. I met amazing people. The reason that I'm American top team was because of my jiu-jitsu. So I'm really grateful that I met Carson back in the day when I was 14 years old. I'm really grateful for everything that jiu-jitsu has done for me and my life. I met my wife through jiu-jitsu. Because of that, we have a great family, 2 kids. So I'm really grateful not only for Carson Gracie, for jiu-jitsu, to give me the opportunities that I was given. So I'm really happy and grateful.
And coach, I'm super grateful for this interview. Thank you so much for your time. I'm a simple guy from Kyrgyzstan, beginning MMA journalist here in Canada. So it means the world to me to talk to you. I never thought I would get an opportunity to talk with people like yourself. But coach, could you get a final message for all the Marcos Parrumpa fans out there worldwide?
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I would like to say everybody that has been following me, on Instagram and the kind words for everybody. I receive a lot of love from Russians and Russian-based countries. Uh, I'm really really overwhelmed. And I thank you guys so much. If you haven't followed me yet, please follow me at Parrumpa ATT on Instagram. That's basically I use more. I don't use Twitter very much. I use Facebook. It's pretty much on Instagram. So thank you for everything. And spasiba, da Vidania.
And coach, could we also get a final message for all your fans in Brazil in Portuguese, very quickly?
Rapaziada, muito obrigado por todo mundo aí que tem mandado mensagem. Eu sei que dessa vez vocês vão estar contra mim, né? Torcendo a favor do Charles, mas é sempre bom a gente ter esse feedback de todo mundo, o respeito. E eu agradeço a todos vocês que se mandaram mensagem e são fãs do meu trabalho. Obrigado.
Thank you, coach. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.